Welcome back to another edition of the Sports Edge podcast. Guys, summer went quick, but it took us to right now, on the precipice of another fantasy football season. We made it. We're here. It was great seeing a few of you in the draft room, and I look forward to seeing many, if not all of you, on the podcast this season. No guru for this episode, which I have hastily thrown together on the morning of the season opener. Like most people, he has a real job and can't just drop everything to discuss imaginary football teams like I can. That said, I have no idea what he actually does for a living. I don't know what many of you do for a living, but that is besides the point. We provided zero off-season content for you, and that changes right now at the last possible moment. Here's the premise. I looked at each and every team and wrote down a draft note. Then I made an optimistic case for each team. And then I highlighted a few areas or reasons for concern. Some more than others. We will go in reverse order of the draft and start with Hath, the reigning champ. It's going to take some time getting used to saying that, but he is the reigning champ. So Team Hath, draft note. They traded Marvin Harrison Jr. back to Curtis for Chris Olave, the 9th pick, and the 19th pick. With those picks, they took Caleb Johnson, the running back for the Steelers, and Kyle Williams, the wide receiver for the Patriots. They said they had a plan with those picks, and I sure hope that that wasn't their plan. Optimistic case for Team Hath. Burrow lights the league on fire again. Ladd McConkey ends up as a top 10 wide receiver. And Chris Olave, the aforementioned, puts up CD Lamb type numbers, which I do not see happening, especially with Spencer Rattler behind center. Reasons for concern for Team Hath, well, I will keep harping on it. They traded away their best player in CD Lamb, and you're almost never going to win a trade when you give up a superstar. I actually thought they did pretty well. They got Kyren Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. Pretty good haul for CD Lamb. My problem is that they then traded Marvin Harrison Jr. back to Curtis for 25 cents on the dollar. Speaking of Curtis, the podcast nemesis, they spent their first pick on a rookie running back that hits women and still has not signed. Optimistic case for Steve. Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb finish at 1-2 among wide receivers. Breece Hall returns to an elite level. Ken Walker stays healthy. Marvin Harrison Jr. finally breaks out. And Jaden Daniels continues to show that he is him. Reason for concern, this one was pretty obvious for me. It's just managerial incompetence. Steve has had loaded rosters for years and has little to show for those rosters other than last year's regular season title. On paper, I don't think there's any dispute. Steve's team looks like the favorite, which means that he will inevitably screw it up somehow. On to Team Walsh. Draft note. Must have been a slow work event because those picks came in quick. Well done, Bry. Either that or you set up your queue, which I know some people can do. But you did not keep us waiting despite being at a work event. So thank you for your quickness in that regard. Optimistic case for Team Walsh. Bijan goes bananas. Jalen Waddle becomes the wide receiver one in Miami. And either Rashad Bateman or Quentin Johnston, who they traded for and kept, inexplicably become a top 20 wide receiver. Reason for concern? Well, they're below average at quarterback and tight end. James Cook is a major regression candidate this year. He had 16 rushing touchdowns last season. The season before that, he had 2. The season before that, he had 2. So I assume he'll land somewhere in the middle there, but expecting 16 again, I think, is a far cry. Also, their roster is just littered with guys. I mean, you saw the 16 guys they kept. It's just littered with guys who have very limited upside. On to the Guru. Classic Guru move in the draft to take a Bronco in running back R.J. Harvey in the first round. Good on you, Guru. Little known fact, Guru and I were in discussions about potentially trading. He was going to trade back to 10 where I was. I was trying to move up from 10 to 7 to get a guy, but Guru said if one of his guys is there, he's going to take him. I texted him at about the 5th pick. I said, how are we looking? He texted me afterwards and said he got his guy in Harvey. So he got his guy in Harvey. Good for you, Guru. An optimistic case for your squad. I think this one's pretty realistic. Trey McBride leads all tight ends in scoring. He was damn close last year, just couldn't find the end zone. Drake London becomes a superstar, was well on his way last year. And friend of the podcast, or one of our favorite players of the podcast, Bucky Irving, finishes as a top 5 guy. He could also use something like Jonathan Taylor returning to prominence as a fantasy football running back. Reasons for concern: Tyreek Hill, he's old, might be washed, could be falling off the cliff. Xavier Legette, they have penciled in at their flex right now, and he was outplayed by an undrafted rookie in Carolina last year. So a bit of a surprise to see him thrust in there. And then Bo Nix, who they traded for in the offseason, he might just be a guy. Another, classic guru trading for the Denver guy, supporting the hometown team. Good for you. But Bo Nix, I think he finished at quarterback 8 last year. I don't know if he's going to do that again. If he does, great, but it remains to be seen. Zans, draft note. Were you even watching the tennis at the U.S. Open? I mean, enough. Just like Walsh, you guys were just dialed into the draft. I loved it. Even after a few honeydeuces, Zan still landed, in my estimation, guys that just fit the archetype for his team. Like if you had told me before the draft that Travis Hunter is going to end up on any team, my money would have been on Zans right away. Same goes for Bishal Tootin. Like both of those guys, they're just screaming Team Zans for me. I don't know why. So well done there. The optimistic case for Zans: Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, and Aaron Jones remain immortal and don't fall off. Travis Hunter is the king who was promised, or I guess the prince who was promised. And Jalen Hurts takes full advantage of the tush push and ends up leading the league in rushing touchdowns. Your reason for concern, it's just those guys, Evans, Adams, Henry, and Jones, they're all old. Throw in the fact that George Pickens is a loose cannon. And then Sam Laporta had an awesome rookie season, kind of fell back to earth in year 2. That year 1 may have just been a flash in the pan, and now his offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, is gone to Chicago. Team Pete, draft note, they took Emeka Ibuka in the first round, and then they did not take another rookie the rest of the way. The only team in the league to take fewer than 2 rookies. Clearly, Pete favors experience and proven commodities. Your optimistic case for our updated team name, the Allen Bros, we'll love that, with Josh Allen and Braylon Allen both on the team. They have the best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen, the best running back, Saquon Barkley, and a top 3 tight end in George Kittle. So there is a lot to build on there. Great foundation. Your reason for concern, I mean, how is Deebo Samuel going to look in Washington? Looked a little chunky in the preseason. Is Pacheco going to be the same guy he was in 2023? And you take a look at their bench, like which of those guys has any real upside? I looked this up and I couldn't believe it. It's been 9 seasons since Pete finished higher than the 5th seed in the regular season. And the way things are looking, as I look at the rosters, I think he's going to be right around that 5th place range again this season. So we'll see how it plays out. Team Godotti, draft note. This guy might not be a star in year 1, but I thought getting Colston Loveland with the 14th pick, 2nd round, 14th overall, was awesome value. I did not expect him to be there, especially with Hathaway as a Michigan fan, Hoban, who salivates to tight ends, and I knew I was eyeing a tight end as well. I did not think Loveland would be there at 14, but I thought that was a great pick by Robbie. The optimistic case starts with Lamar and Jamar Gibbs. Obviously, if Teteroa McMillan is a bankable top 20 wide receiver in year 1 and Rome Odunze takes the leap, then this team could be cooking. Like, it's possible. They started hot last year. I don't see why they couldn't roll some momentum, get it going early this season, and keep it going the rest of the way. Your reason for concern, though, James Conner and Alvin Kamara are both north of 30, and Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. In the slot, he's a slot wide receiver. In the flex, leaves a lot to be desired. I say that as a Giants fan. On to the Commish's team. Draft note, after trying for weeks to move up in the draft, I was trying to go from, first I did move up from 13 to 10. I was trying to go from 10 to in front of Hoban. I thought Steve was eyeing a tight end back before he made the second Marvin Harrison trade with Hathaway. I thought for sure Steve was going to take a tight end, either Tyler Warren or Loveland, and I wanted one of those guys, preferably Tyler Warren. So I was desperately trying to move up from 10 to get in front of Curtis. Couldn't land at 8. Hoban was like, what do you think I'm going to try to do? I might take a tight end. So luckily for me, Tyler Warren fell to me at 10. He was the guy I wanted. To go along with Travion Henderson at 3, I thought that was pretty well done for me in the first round. Your optimistic case, Mahomes and Kelsey, they got to turn back the clock. They got to be the guys that they were. Ever since Mahomes has been on my team, it's been pretty bad. And then obviously Christian McCaffrey has got to return to his 2023 form. Tony Pollard is in a good situation, I think. Maybe not week 1, but a revamped offensive line in Tennessee this year with a rookie quarterback could be great value. And then if the Trayvon Henderson hype is real, then the Sandman could be back in the mix after a season finishing 8th. Reason for concern, as I alluded to, Mahomes has just been straight doo-doo since I traded for him. Justin Jefferson's quarterback has never thrown a pass in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey could be toast if he lands the wrong way. And this team is really counting on another running back to emerge from their bench. I think a lot of teams are. You look at these benches, and there's a lot of what-if guys. Like, this guy could be a thing. But that's tough to really bank on, so it might not happen at all. But Yahoo did give me an A+ for my draft. Love to see that. And they got me projected for, I think, the second most points in week 1. So there are some believers, the AI bots on Yahoo among them. Team Kess, the doc, draft note, loved his first 3 picks. Omarion Hampton at 1, Bill Krosky Merritt Parkway at 2, and Khalil Shakir in the 3rd round. Just great. 2 awesome rookie running backs, a stable wide receiver, veteran wide receiver. I guess the wide receiver 1 for a great offense, and the Buffalo Bills in the 3rd round could throw him right in the flex. Thought that was well done by Kess. To make the optimistic case, I think this one's pretty easy. This team looks loaded. Achane could lead the league in touchdowns. Puka and Brian Thomas continue to deliver, maybe top 10 seasons for both. Omarion Hampton, if he's a top 10 guy right away at running back. Mark Andrews could very easily bounce back. He started last season slow, finished it hot. And then, Purdy or Caleb Williams, either of them finish as a top 7 tight end, or top 7 wide quarterback, why can't Kess compete for a title this year? I think this team's pretty good. Your reason for concern, Achane's production is tied pretty heavily to Tua's health. Like last year when Tua played, he averaged 22 points per game. When Tua was out, it was 8 points a game. So he needs Tua to stay healthy to be super productive. And that's a tough bet because Tua is Mr. Glass. And then the other reason for concern is just, it's simple. Kess, he's got the monkey on his back. He's the only manager in the league that has not won the Sports Edge Fantasy Football League title. So the pressure's on, Kess. Hathaway got the monkey off his, or as I said in the 30 for 30, the McConkey off his back last season. This season it could be Kess, and I really expect them to be a top 4 team. I think this roster is pretty loaded. Finally, Team Hoban. After a basement finish last year, draft note, they did pretty well in the first round. I think they got a haul with Genty first and then Golden 8th. Pretty well done by Hoban. Your optimistic case for them, it's feasible that Nico Collins, Chase Brown, and Brock Bowers all lead their positions in points this year. That would be awesome for Hoban. Could have him in the mix every single week. Reason for concern, they need a quarterback to emerge, and I don't think Jared Goff is going to be the guy that leads this team back to the playoffs. Maybe CJ Stroud is a bounce-back season. Maybe Cam Ward's awesome right out of the gate. The other problem for this team is their undying devotion to Nick Chubb, who has earned it. He was great for this team for years and years and years. He's now technically the guy in Houston with Joe Mixon being injured, but I don't know how much you're going to be able to count on Nick Chubb for a full season. You might get a few good weeks in before one of the younger guys, Damian Pierce or Woody Marks, takes over, or I guess this is unlikely, but Joe Mixon comes back and retakes the number 1 role. So there you have it. That's the premise. A little draft note, optimistic case for each team, and then some reasons for concern. Good luck to everyone in week 1, and we will be back with the Guru, hopefully. Haven't figured out what time, what day, but next week we will be back at some point to recap all the action. Good luck, guys.